afternoon, Elizabeth. It's so good to see you again. I've been looking forward to our conversation all day.
Me too.
Yeah. So as you know, this interview that we're doing today is part of Ascentum's Women's History Month celebration. I am talking to several fantastic female entrepreneurs like you, each of whom represent one of Ascentum's values. And so before I dive right in, I would love for you to just introduce yourself and tell us more about who you are and what you do.
Hi, Lisa. So I'm Elizabeth Clare Brewington. I am the managing partner and co-founder of Brightside. And we have several things. We do production and publications, and we host events. So we're so excited to work with Ascentum, and that's who I am.
That's awesome. And so the value of teamwork is the value that I automatically thought about when I think of you, because at Ascentum, teamwork is really all about this idea that if you want to go farther, you have to go with other people to do it together. And we believe in the power of connecting. And teamwork, especially even in coaching, is a way that we can support one another, but also to keep each other accountable to our goals. And what I love about what you've done with Brightside is that you've created a vibrant community where business leaders, authors, artists, all sorts of people around the globe really can come together and do business together. So tell us more about that. How did you come up with the idea for Brightside and how teamwork shows up in what you do?
So none of us are experts in anything, and anyone who says to you that, you know, they can do it all, it's not true. So I came up with the concept after working in corporate, where I had, you know, lots of people working under me, and I had a team. And I discovered that we need many people collectively as a community to come up with, you know, with anything, business concepts, working together, giving each other business, connecting, networking. You couldn't do that as an individual. And then during the pandemic, we couldn't meet in person. So I couldn't host any events. I couldn't, you know, go and have lunch with you, Lisa, and I couldn't, you know, meet people in person. So we moved everything to Zoom. And I have to say that my clients were the ones that wanted to go to Zoom. I was very nervous about the technology and being on camera, but it was my clients that recommended that we go on Zoom. And we did our first meeting on the phone with free conference call. We were all like, I think 25 women, you know, trying to do a women's conference on the phone. You know, and so we moved to Zoom, and the pandemic, you know, we met, you know, during the pandemic. And so I think we were able to run business as usual virtually. And of course, it had a lot of, you know, things that we had to learn. There was a big learning curve, but, you know, everything is still in discovery. So team spirit is very important. Partnering with your clients is very important. Listening to clients is very important. And also your own team, it's very important because collectively we can do a lot more than as an individual, especially in this day and age, I think. So building communities is the way to go.
Yeah, I love so much of what you've shared because, first of all, you talked about needing to pivot and to shift your business because the pandemic forced you to do it differently than you had to. I can only imagine what it was like for that first women's conference on the phone with, you know, a number of women entrepreneurs. That had to be tough, trying to give everyone their opportunity to speak.
Yes, it was.
So you use Zoom, and now you have created really a new platform for yourself that maybe you would not have otherwise come to had the pandemic not brought you to that. I also like this idea that you shared about teamwork, that we can't be an expert in everything. And so we have to leverage other people's strengths to help round out our own so that we can be successful. Now, one of the ways that you also embody teamwork is you're a co-founder. So you have a partner in your business, your husband, Elton Brewington. And so tell us what that's like to work in business with your spouse.
It's actually pretty wonderful because, when you're an entrepreneur, you're working 24 hours. So if I was not working with my spouse, I would be away from the office, with someone else. So the advantage of working with your spouse is that you're working together 24 hours a day. And the thing about working together is that you talk shop all the time, and that's dangerous. Instead of being like a nag and after Elton, for things, we started scheduling meetings. And now we created a room in our home that's like a meeting room, and we talk shop during the meeting. So that way, during the meeting, we go through, the timeline, the project deliveries. And I find that having that conversation is much better than over breakfast or lunch. And, and that way, business time is business time, and home time is home time. So I think working with your spouse, you really have to set boundaries so that you don't destroy each other in the process.
That is so good. Yeah. Setting boundaries is so important. The other thing that I really love about you, Elizabeth, and the all of the folks at Brightside is just the diversity of the types of businesses, industries, geographies of the people that you've managed to bring together. So can you share a little bit about diversity in teams and how that's benefited your business and helped you to grow?
I think we all know this, that the media has really destroyed, diversity with portraying, images on the movies, about how we are. And, so when I married Elton, it was a huge, thing with my community in India. And, I was fortunate that we were in the Obama phase, because when I took Elton to India to introduce him to my family, Obama had just been there. And so there was the Obama fever all over the country. And so Elton, couldn't have arrived at a better time, because he was immediately embraced in the Obama culture. But one of the things that Elton and I did discover was that there was a need to educate, especially international audiences. I mean, we have problems here in the United States, but I think the international audiences tend to favor certain races when it comes to partnering for business, or, giving money to charities or donations. And so I think there is an education curve that when people see more people like us successful, doing well, we play the role of role models, and then more people feel encouraged to be like us. So I think that it's very, very important that more of us, especially women, are shown in a good light, because you don't want to show yourself, because it's not just about you, even though it does feel sometimes it's about you, but it's about a whole community behind you. So if you fail, the whole community fails. If you're portrayed in a bad light, everybody's portrayed in a bad light. So you represent a big group of people. So I think you really have to try to be a good citizen, which is why we like the GROW program so much, because you really have to be responsible. You can't just take your diversity and then, some people think just because, you're colored, you can get away with a lot of things, and you can't. You've got to be a good citizen too. So
for sure. In fact, I think some would argue that.
Yeah, I'm underserved because of my color of my skin, and you can make up that kind of stuff. Yeah,
that's right. And so for those who are watching or who will read your story may not know that you're a native of India. Your husband is African American. That's a team that is not a common mix, right? Yep. That is very uncommon.
It is. It's very uncommon. So yeah, it's complicated. It is complicated. But for the most part, so that was one of the reasons why we took it upon ourselves to make sure, and when I recruit people for my show, I work hard to get a diverse mixture, because I feel like it's important that we show people what diversity communities can do together. Like, I always feel like African Americans and Indians have so much in common if they only knew. Like a lot of Blacks look at me as a foreigner and, things like that, and they have judgmental opinions about foreigners. And a lot of Indians have judgmental opinions about Blacks. And so we have to bring them together and educate them. And when they meet, it's magic. You're like, oh my God. So, so their music, for one, both communities love music. Both communities are entrepreneurs. Both communities have dynamic, big dreams, which you won't find with other communities. And so that's why I think, it's important that we play that role of bringing internationals, Americans, and America's so divided with Republicans and Democrats, and Black and white. And so it's important that we get together and show people how it's done. And then when they see, oh, this is cool, I think it works.
I think that's awesome. I mean, that's one of the things that I think you and your husband are doing, and all of the team at Brightside Global Trade TV are doing, because the programs that you're putting together always have a diverse set of entrepreneurs in them. Yeah. And so tell us about how you went about cultivating the relationships that you have that allow you to bring so many different people together willingly, and everyone is working together, supporting each other's businesses, etc. How did you do that?
Well, one of the things is I don't tolerate racists. If somebody comes to me and says to me, gives me some kind of indication, I just don't tolerate it. So, that's the first thing, is setting boundaries. You want to make sure you're recruiting good people, and you want to and we have the name Brightside. So we're not negative people. So if I have people who gossip and are negative, and, I just, have to call them out and say, look, we're building a bright team, where we're all about the bright side. We've got enough media out there that's negative. So we want to show a positive outlook. So that's one of my first challenges in recruiting, because, almost, I would say 80% of people that I talk to are negative, are, fixed on a political party, or whatever they're biased about. So I absolutely have everyone in our group. We even have LGBTQ. We have everybody in our group. And I try to include everyone, giving everyone equal status and, diversity. So yeah, so it is very, very hard and very, very challenging to find the right mix of people. And that comes from interviewing. I interview people, I vet people, and sometimes I upset people. So, in doing so. But I think diversity is very important. I think if you look at the world, it's changing so fast. And if you're not embracing diversity, you're missing something. And if you're not looking overseas for clients, you're really missing out, because there's enough clients around the world that would love to work with you. So I think it's important. So yes, I've made that my mission to bring people together.
I love that, to bring people together, to have the brighter side of life and in business, and having a diverse team, as you said, where everyone is welcome, so long as they bring that positivity and are willing to work in a diverse environment. I mean, numerous studies, time and time again, all prove that businesses are much more effective, they're much more profitable when they have diversity and when everyone is included. So it's not just our ethnicity, our religion, our sexuality or gender. Those things are certainly part of what makes us diverse. But I think even more importantly, it's our experiences, it's the background, it's the way that we view things and process information. And so you've done a great job of that. And that's why teamwork for me is Elizabeth Clare Brewington.
Yeah.
So
given that it's Women's History Month, I think one of the big things, if you notice what's going on, is almost every corporation now has a board. And Lisa, you know this from working with Fortune 500 companies, that when you're a board member of, Kraft Foods or one of these big, corporations, it's very prestigious. And now every board has hired a woman, which is a big step, because we were such a male-dominated, society, that corporations now have found that it is necessary to have women on their boards. And so I tell all my entrepreneurs now, the next big thing is to get on these boards, because they pay you, it's prestigious, and you're part of, the cutting edge of the next generation. And women are people that you can really trust. The media has always portrayed us as the Delilah, as the betrayer, as the wicked woman, but women actually are mothers, and, women are grandmothers. And so women can be trusted. And you can see that with banks giving loans to women entrepreneurs, they always pay their loans back versus men. And so women have a much better sense of responsibility. So I think that, just doing women broadcasts is just necessary to find smart women and, women who are doing things to be role models for other women. Because when a woman falls down and has difficulties with, divorce or any other kind of situation, they look to women that have been successful in order for them to feel empowered to move forward out of their situations. And so I think Women's History Month is very important, because it's time for us to, have more role models for women.
And just to acknowledge the successes and the things that we've accomplished. I mean, women are in all sorts of spaces now, and certainly there is much more room for diversity and inclusion as it relates to women, and particularly women of color, in all spaces. But I think what you're doing with Brightside Television, with the events that you host and the various programs that you put on, you really are creating a space to showcase women and others in the best possible light. So tell us what's coming up at Brightside. What are you looking forward to?
You. Well, we have Lisa Baker coming up on our show with Ascentim, talk about partnerships and alliances. I think one of the best alliances we've made is with Ascentim. So Ascentim will be with us, but this is our 4th Women Business Empowerment series. So it's kind of like a conference because we have speaker-led sessions. And I know that it's going to be everybody says to me, oh my God, your broadcasts are just so long and you have so many speakers and blah, blah, blah. And it's probably going to be very long, because we probably will have a lot of speakers, because women have a lot to talk about. So it's going to have a lot of women who will be speakers, artists, entertainers, authors. But this year, I want to do something different. I want to take on topics that are, things that are the new generation, for example, artificial intelligence. A lot of us don't know about it. We were always scared about it because you have the big brother watching us. But now that, the mobile is going to use your face for facial recognition as your password. Your fingerprinting is like thing of the past. So this new thing of machine learning is going to be such a big part. And so I'm trying to find speakers that can talk about technology, because I think as women, we tend not to want to do technology, but it's really necessary. The jobs that people are losing are not because there's a shortage of jobs, because they don't have the skill set. And so if you are not training and retooling yourself with technology, you're not going to be part of the new workforce that's coming out. And whatever we had, because a lot of the last 10 years have been IT people, people building computers, people making phones, but we've done that. We've done the software, we've done the hardware. We're going to need soft skills now. We're going to need people like you and me who can actually embrace artificial intelligence and how we use it and how we embrace it. So now it has become a human need more than a machine need. So machine is built. So now it's how do we implement it? So I feel like we play a big role, especially women, on how we're going to embrace this new phase of technology, which is very frightening and very scary. But at the same time, you have to embrace it because it's going to be part of your day-to-day life. You won't be able to shop without your mobile phone. You won't be able to do a lot of things. So one of the things I want to do with this conference is I want to have more technology speakers coming on. I want to have more people teaching people more cutting edge things, finance with Grow, because there's no point being an entrepreneur if you have no money in your bank account. You've got to have your finances in order to be an entrepreneur. So Grow will play a very big part. Finance will play a very big part. But it will be a more responsible conference because we need to get women up to speed with what's going on with the world. So I think that's going to be very big.
Yeah, that's cool. I think that's excellent that you are creating a platform for diversity and teamwork, but especially during Women's History Month, also being sure that we as women, as business owners, as leaders are embracing what's next.
Yes.
And including technology. So I think that's great. You've mentioned Grow, and so I'll share that.
Yes.
I created the Grow Finances program, which is designed to help people get out of debt, retain more of their income, organize their assets so that they can walk in wealth. And Brightside and Ascentum are partnering on that in an effort to bring financial literacy and the benefits of Grow to the Brightside community so that entrepreneurs and those and others who are part of your platform have an opportunity to grow their finances. And so as part of that, you and your husband, Elton, took the opportunity to go through the program first so that you could represent it accurately with your members. And I really appreciated you doing that because it's not just about promoting something for someone because you like that person or you maybe even trust them, but taking the time to experience it for yourself so that you can share in an authentic way. And so I really appreciated that. If you don't mind, so tell me, others, that will listen to this, what's your experience with Grow in terms of how it's helping you professionally, but then and personally, but how do you think your Brightside members and the entrepreneurs that are part of your platform, how this partnership and our working together on this will benefit them?
So I've always been a very busy person. And I've never been an organized person. This is something that you actually have to learn as a child. I was very careless as a child. I would lose my umbrella. My parents probably bought hundreds of umbrellas because I'd lose them on the bus. I'd lose them, I'd lose my raincoat. I'd lose my handbag. When I lived in New York, I would lose my pocketbook like almost, at least 3 times in the year. I'd have to get the locksmith to, break open the lock, get me in, get new ID cards and, all this kind of thing. So I have always not been a very organized person. And it's something that has cost me, I have lost a lot of things because of not being organized. And so a few years ago, I realized that this was not something that was a problem. This was a habit, and I had to change it. And I had to start getting more organized with my life if I wanted to be more successful, especially with my time. I used to be my calendar was all, I'd miss appointments, I'd be all over the place. So I realized that, it's really, really important. So actually one of the things I learned from Lisa was, the calendar, just having an appointment and calendars and, but what Grow did for me, because I was kind of almost going there, but one of the biggest things in finance is, I think, not that people don't have money or that, you're in debt, is that we are careless. We're not paying attention to the date that your payments are due. if you borrowed money to return it, things like that. And I think one of the things that Grow is doing is it's making you feel aware. The first thing is awareness, because when you can actually look at your bank account, look at your debts, look at it. Most of us don't want to deal with it. We just want to, forget about it, but you have to sit down and face the facts that this is what you have. And then being organized, because if you don't know the date that your payment is due, you're going to forever be paying extra charges, your late fee and bank interest. And, so you're forever going to be behind on your payments because you're not organized. So one of the things that Grow taught me was that they have these workbooks that really give you homework, but at the same time, like putting a budget sheet together, bringing your finances together and changing your mindset, because it's not that hard. And, you could spend so now Elton and I have started meetings, which is something we've started. And one of the things in the meeting is that we go through the bills and, we go through, what we have, what we don't have. And I think that has helped us a lot. So I think for us, the big thing about Grow is a systematic approach to, helping you build your finances. And by the way, this month we actually had money in the bank. So we did some savings. So that was a good thing, because one of the first things that Lisa teaches you is save more, spend less. Don't spend right away, put your money aside. So we've started a savings account. And so I think the little things matter. Yeah.
Yeah, that's really cool. And thank you for sharing that, because I think you're spot on. A lot of it is our mindset, and it's habits, often negative habits, that are keeping us poor. But you can change your mindset, you can create new habits and turn your finances around. So I'm really happy to hear that. And I'm glad to be partnered with you and the Brightside team to bring Grow to other entrepreneurs who would benefit from that same kind of literacy and discipline around their finances.
Yeah, and I think that's the right word, discipline. And I've done a few of these programs, but I don't think I've ever seen anything like Grow. I've seen different ways of approaching it, but I think that what's great about Grow is it's about you, so you can adapt the program to your lifestyle. It's not like they say this is how it is, and there's no flexibility with it.
Yeah, that's really cool. So if you had to offer advice to another female entrepreneur who maybe wants to build a better, stronger team, a more diverse team, as you have with Brightside, what advice would you give her?
Try to always have a balance. So when you're hiring people or even looking for clients, try to, if you find I'm Indian and everybody in my group is Indian, there's a problem right there. So look at your team, look at who your friends are, look at who you're having lunch with, and you realize that if you're only meeting one race, there's a problem. So try and go out of the comfort zone. For example, if you don't want to do something really big, if you're going to the gym, make friends with someone who's from a different culture or different background. Invite them for lunch. Get to know people of a different ethnicity. And if you feel even that's too much for you, then go on Facebook and make friends with some diversity groups. Try recipes from another culture. Go to different restaurants, try different foods. I have friends who are so fixed, they only eat, Southern food. They won't try anything else. But, just get a little flexible. And yes, sometimes you could get hurt, you might meet someone and, it could backfire. But that's part of growing up in the diversity world. So get a few knocks and, you might get cheated now and then, but go for it. So
that's funny. So your advice is really try something new, get outside of your comfort zone and just start somewhere, even if it's small.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. And what would you say has been the biggest benefit to your business from embracing diversity and embracing this idea of teamwork and building together?
So one of the things before I get there is my career has spanned over 3 decades, and I spent a lot of time, working for pharmaceutical companies on the client side with Glaxo, and then I got on the agency side. So then I was servicing Fortune 500s, but they sent me all over the world. So for example, I worked in London, then I worked in Canada, I worked in Montreal where everybody spoke French. I even lived in the eastern part of North Carolina where everyone spoke French. And I had to actually make presentations to completely, diverse teams who spoke different languages, who had different cultures. So I've traveled all through Europe. I've worked in Canada. I've worked in New York. I've worked now in North Carolina. So I feel like because I've worked overseas and I've actually lived in those countries, which is quite different from just meeting someone from a different culture. And I've actually had people reporting to me that were of different ethnicities and different cultures. And so I've had to lead very, very diverse teams. And sometimes there were people that didn't want to report to me because I was a woman of color, and I had to win them over. And, I remember coming to New York, and even the receptionist didn't want to talk to me because I was a woman of color and I had an executive position. And there was a little bit of jealousy with that. And so she wouldn't give me my phone calls and, silly things like that. But you're going to have to get challenged as a diverse person. So yes, we're going to have to give 100% to another race because of our color. Yes, it is something we're punished for, and it's true. But when you have to lead or grow a team or build a team, you first have to be modest, and you have to accept that somebody of another race is not going to love you, not going to trust you, not going to want you to be their boss. And so you're going to have to live with that. That's just the reality. That's because people have been brought up differently. They think differently. They react to you differently. But when they get to know you, it changes. And you have to be part of that change process. So you yourself have to adapt to other people versus, this person doesn't like me because of my race. Yes, it's a reality. They don't like you because of your race. What are you going to do about it? So you're going to have to jump hoops to make friends and go out of your way to fix that. And when it does happen, it's magic. Because then people go, oh, I didn't know you speak English. This is something we get all the time. They didn't know that India is the largest English-speaking country in the world. So when someone says to you, I didn't know you speak English, or someone from Africa speaks English, what's wrong with you? So you have to live with that. But I think we, as people of color, have to go beyond the call of duty to be able to get. Because think about it, when other races embrace you and like you, then you're going to get ahead of your career. So it's better that you understand this, and it's better that you play the catalyst role in their change, because you've already changed, and get them to change. So, so that's a little process, and you have to accept it.
Yeah, it's really an interesting take, because I got to be honest with you, Elizabeth. At first, as I'm listening to you, I was thinking, it sounds like you're putting all of the onus on us as women of color, as female entrepreneurs, as people of color. But I love what you said in terms of being the catalyst in other people's change, because we've already changed. I think that's beautiful. I really do. And so if we make that effort of extending ourselves and being the catalyst in someone else's change, what are the benefits to us of doing that? So what are the benefits that you've seen for the growth of Brightside, for example, for you personally as an entrepreneur, by being the catalyst in other people's change?
Well, one, I've made new friends. I've learned so much. I mean, I wouldn't have married Elton if I wasn't, open-minded. So yeah, I think that you're missing out if you close your mind to other cultures and diversity, and if you expect people to respect you because of your color. I think that's important, but I think it's more important that you try to make friends with people and work with people and be the catalyst, because you will benefit in the long run if it happens and the magic happens. Now I've had issues too with people that haven't accepted me, so I mean that's part of life, but you move on. If you meet somebody who's a racist or somebody who's a jerk, you move on. It's like dating. You just leave them behind and you go to the next person. So you can't have everybody love you, so go with the ones that do.
Yeah, I think that's really key. It's partnering with like-minded people who share your values and who want to work together. I mean, I think that is where the magic happens in teamwork. When you have a diverse group of people, we may have different cultures, different ethnicities, different genders, all of that can be different. But what needs to be common is our values, right, in terms of teamwork, and our desire to work together to achieve something that is greater than we can achieve on our own.
Yes, it's true. Yeah, and that's how you have such wonderful, beautiful, and that's the best part of the United States. This beautiful, magnificent country has people of all colors and race, and it's proven in every industry, in sports and entertainment and everything. Everybody has had a chance. If you're talented, if you're smart, if you're able to give America all you have, you will produce great results. And that's one of the things that diversity does. So you've got to have that. You've got to be diverse as a person, I think. Yeah.
That's really cool. So tell folks who are watching this, if they want to get in contact, if they want to partner with you and be part of the bright side of things, how can people connect with you?
Well, we have a website, brightsideglobaltrade.org, and each month, we were doing a lot during the pandemic, but now we're just going to do once a month. We're going to have a conference style event, and we have a theme every single month. So this month is Women History Month, so it will be women. Next month will be the Earth Day, so we'll have climate, cybersecurity. A lot of people are scared of the internet and want to know how to be safe on social media. I told you about the face recognition now, which I think is very scary. That's going to be your new password on your phone, So our privacy is really at risk. And, when you think that robots are going to be made replicating you, that's frightening to me. But, this is the world we live in. Our voices and our eyes and everything, can be monitored. So I think it's very important that we as citizens of the world pay attention to what's going on, so that we can't just get surprised, if you have been hacked or identity theft. It's not just about that. You need to know what's going on so that you get smarter about it, and you protect your family, you protect your privacy, and you need to be on top of it. So this is a very important conference. And also with hurricane and the climate, you've got to start being a responsible citizen. You've got to start taking care of the planet for the next generation. So it's important for you to know what's going on. And so we're combining climate, cybersecurity, artificial intelligence, and technology in April as well. And then in May, we're going to do our second 30-day challenge. And I'm hoping to talk to Lisa and Ascentum to grow a part of this 30-day challenge as well, because it's 30 days that you can learn about social media and marketing, and also about your business. So it's very important. So yeah, so each month we have a theme, and everything is on our website, brightsideglobaltrade.org. The events between now and April will be free, because we're going to finish off what we were doing with the pandemic. But starting in May, we're going to start charging tickets. We've got to make money too. So things are going to become a little more expensive than they were. We may move away completely from the free tickets. So if you want to get free tickets, get them for the March and the April events. And then in May, I'm probably going to go to a ticketed environment. So if you want to get to know us for free, then this is the last 2 months that you can do it.
Then Women's History Month and Earth Day event are the ones to do it. So you also have a YouTube channel, right, where people can
Yes.
watch previous events that you've hosted as well. And I'll make sure that the link to your YouTube channel and to your website are included. Elizabeth, thank you so much for making time to talk with me and sharing about teamwork and diversity and how that plays a part in Brightside and the business that you're growing.